There's something about deep woods that feels different from a normal forest. It's not just the silence, it's the way the air feels heavier, the way the trees seem taller than they should be, and the way sound doesn't travel the way you expect it to. Tonight, I'm sharing three really scary, true deep woods horror stories. These aren't urban legends. They're not dramatic campfire tales. They're slow, personal accounts from people who went into the wilderness expecting peace and left with something they still can't explain. If you're listening to this at night, maybe keep the lights on. The first story comes from a guy named Aaron. He sent this in a few years ago, and he still refuses to go camping alone. Aaron had always been into solo hiking. He liked the isolation, said it cleared his head. One fall, he decided to spend a weekend in a state forest that was known for having miles of unmarked trails. He deliberately chose a less popular route. He wanted to be completely alone. The first day was normal. Birds, wind, the distant cracking of branches that you convince yourself are just deer. By sunset, he had set up a small tent in a clearing surrounded by thick pine trees. No cell service, no other campers nearby, just miles of woods. That night, sometime after midnight, he woke up. Not to a loud noise, but to the feeling that someone was standing outside his tent. He said it wasn't a dream. It was that instinctive jolt of awareness, like when someone stares at you and you somehow know. He held his breath and listened. At first, nothing. Then, a slow, deliberate crunch of leaves, not the random scatter of an animal. One step, then another, circling the tent. Aaron froze. His first thought was a bear, but bears don't move slowly like that. They don't pause after every step as if they're thinking. The footsteps stopped directly behind his head, and then he heard something that still makes him uncomfortable to talk about. A soft exhale, right against the thin nylon wall. He said it sounded human, close enough that the fabric of the tent slightly pressed inward. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just lay there for what felt like an hour. Eventually the footsteps resumed, slow, measured, fading into the trees. He didn't sleep again that night. At sunrise, he stepped outside. There were footprints, not paw prints, boot prints. They circled his tent completely. But here's the part that bothered him most. There were no prints leading into the clearing, and none leading out, just a perfect ring around where he slept. He packed up immediately and left. He hasn't camped alone since. The second story was sent in by a woman named Claire. Claire and her boyfriend decided to try backcountry camping in a national forest known for its quiet zones. Areas so deep that you can go hours without seeing another person. They hiked nearly 8 miles in before setting up camp near a narrow creek. Everything was peaceful until late evening. They were sitting by a small fire when they both heard it at the same time. A whistle, short, sharp, 2 notes. It came from somewhere across the creek. They both stopped talking. Claire assumed it was another hiker, maybe someone signaling to a friend. But then it came again. The exact same 2 notes, same pitch, same rhythm. Her boyfriend whistled back jokingly. Silence. Then, the same whistle, but this time it was directly behind them. Not across the creek, not far away, right behind their tent. They both turned, flashlights shaking slightly. Nothing. Just trees. Claire said the forest suddenly felt wrong. The insects had stopped. Even the creek seemed quieter. They put the fire out and went into their tent. About 20 minutes later, they heard footsteps moving quickly around their campsite. Too light for a large animal. Too controlled to be random. Then the whistle again. Right outside the tent. 2 notes. Exactly the same. Her boyfriend unzipped the tent just enough to shine a light out. And that's when they saw a figure about 30 feet away between the trees. Standing completely still. Not moving, not reacting to the light. Just watching. They couldn't see a face. Just a dark outline. After a few seconds, it stepped backward behind a tree and disappeared. No crunching leaves, no snapping twigs, just gone. They didn't sleep at all. At sunrise, they packed up. As they were leaving, Claire noticed something on a tree near their campsite. Carved about 6 feet up the trunk, 2 parallel lines, like tally marks, freshly cut. The third story is from someone who didn't even intend to be deep in the woods. Mark was driving through a rural area late at night when his car broke down. No service, no houses nearby, just a long stretch of road bordered by dense forest. He decided to walk, hoping to find a main road. After about 20 minutes, he saw a faint light through the trees. It looked like a cabin. Relieved, he stepped off the road and into the woods. The deeper he went, the quieter it got. The light flickered slightly, like a lantern. He called out, asking if anyone was there. No response. But the light remained. He kept walking toward it. 10 minutes passed. The light didn't seem any closer. That's when he realized something. The road noise was gone. Completely gone. He turned around to retrace his steps, and there was no road. Well, just trees. In every direction. He said panic hit him fast. The kind that makes your vision narrow. He tried to follow his own footprints, but couldn't find them. The forest floor looked untouched. Then he heard movement behind him. Not far, a slow dragging sound. He turned. Nothing. But the light was gone, a total darkness. He started walking in what he thought was a straight line. That's when he heard something mimic him. He would take a step. A half second later, another step. Perfectly timed. Not beside him, behind him. He stopped. The second set of steps stopped. He walked again. So did it. He finally ran. Branches whipped his face. He didn't care. After what felt like forever, he burst out onto asphalt. The same road. His car was about 50 yards away. He didn't remember turning. Didn't remember finding the edge of the forest. He got in the car and locked the doors. And then, from somewhere deep in the trees, two short whistle notes, the same pitch, the same rhythm. He didn't wait to investigate. When a tow truck arrived nearly an hour later, the driver asked him why he looked so shaken. Mark pointed toward the woods. The driver just shook his head and said quietly, "You don't go in there at night." What makes deep woods encounters so unsettling isn't what you see. It's what you don't. It's the way sound behaves strangely, the way distance feels distorted, the way you can't shake the feeling that something is aware of you, long before you're aware of it. Forests have existed longer than roads, longer than towns, longer than any of us. And sometimes when you step far enough away from everything familiar, it feels like you're stepping into something that doesn't want you there. If you're ever camping alone, and you hear slow footsteps circling your tent, or a whistle that sounds just a little too deliberate, you might want to listen to your instincts, because in the deep woods, you're never as alone as you think.